Here's the thing, I want you to be in a committed relationship with your whip. Hey y'all, I'm Ashleigh, and in case we haven't met before, I'm an indie dyer, a mom of 3, and a lover of all things yarn, and today we're going to be talking about something that I think plagues most knitters and crocheters, and that is how to get more knitting and crocheting done when it feels like there just can't possibly be enough hours in the day. We all have busy lives, but I have a few tips today for how to get those needles and hooks active more often. Like I'm talking on a daily basis. Let's start as we mean to go on and grab that project that has been languishing in your whip pile, maybe a little drink, and we are going to talk about my 5 tips that have changed how much crafting I get done. Now, I'll start by saying that all of these tips are just my personal opinion. Take it or leave it. You know what works best for you. But if you're looking to change things up or you're looking for advice because you're unhappy with your current crafting situation, maybe try some of these tricks out. I have my notes here on my laptop because I don't want to forget anything. Let's get started. Now, right off the top, I'm going to go ahead and talk about something that's a little bit of a hot take and something that's going to be hard to hear for some of you, but I say this with love. Tip number 1 is the power of monogamous crafting. What that means is you have one project and one project only going at a time. Until that project is finished, there is no casting on. There is no new cast on. There's no just get this quick one done while my bigger project takes a back seat, one project at a time. I know the allure of a new project, a new pattern that's come out, or a new skein of yarn is really powerful. But when you focus on just one project, you eliminate the decision fatigue that is often the kickoff of your crafting time. If you have many projects going at once, the first step when you sit down to knit or crochet is deciding which project to work on. Then you see how many projects you have in progress. You get overwhelmed, you don't craft. If you only have one project going, none of that happens. You sit down to knit or crochet and you work on that one project. You're inspired, you see how much progress you've made because you'll make progress faster. And that momentum is what keeps you coming back. You find yourself picking it up for a row here or a row there a lot more often because you're getting through the pattern in leaps and bounds. Even if you're working with a fingering weight yarn, even if you're working on something intricate or a big lengthy project like a blanket. If that's all you're working on, the progress feels so much faster than doing a few rows or a chart or one square of a project and then leaving it for days, weeks, months while you work on other things. I myself practice what I preach, and I am a one project at a time sort of person. That might be why I'm a little bit biased toward this particular system, but it's so much more relaxing for me to just have one project to focus on, do it till it's done, and then we move on. I don't feel stressed or overwhelmed about the projects that I have to do. Tip number 2 is something that I call my Ravelry waiting room. So because I'm a monogamous knitter crocheter, in order to survive and not have the temptation of looking at every new pattern that comes out and ditching what I'm working on to cast it on, because I do feel that way, I needed a place for that new project energy to go. So I use Ravelry to satiate my desire to cast on. Instead of grabbing the needles and shopping for yarn when that new pattern comes out, I just add it to my favorites. You could even go so far as adding it to your queue of patterns, assigning it a yarn from your stash or a yarn you intend to buy. You could go even further. You could start an actual project page for that pattern with notes on what yarn you'll use, what size you want to make, if you're going to alter anything, modifications, what date you plan to start it on. All of those details that you would normally put into your Ravelry project when you're working on it can be done ahead of time. By fully and thoughtfully planning out that project, you're giving your brain that hit of dopamine that you really want when you see a brand new pattern that inspires you. You want to chase it. But this method keeps you from cluttering up your workspace and your crafting space with half-finished projects. Because we all know, I'm feeling very enthusiastic right now. Sorry, I don't want to yell at you. We all know that feeling when we get excited, we're inspired, we start something, we get a third of the way through it, and then we're inspired by something else. Happens all the time, especially if you're on social media, especially if you're checking things often, what patterns are coming out, if you follow certain designers that you love. This happens all the time. Patterns are published at breakneck speed. There's so many talented people out there, so many wonderful yarn companies to shop from. The inspiration just keeps on coming. So make a plan for yourself and create a Ravelry waiting room. Okay, tip number 3 is to create a frictionless space. What I mean by that is that you are prepared for your crafting time. You have set it up very intentionally. That doesn't mean that you need a craft room or a dedicated space in your house. This can be the kitchen table, this can be the couch, this can be the passenger seat of the car. Wherever you plan to do your crafting, set yourself up for success by reducing distractions. Chief among them, remove your phone. Set your phone to do not disturb, leave it in another room. If your phone is as distracting for you as it is for me, the allure of just checking one thing, just looking up one thing, I find myself quickly scrolling social media and wasting my crafting time. I'll have my laptop nearby or the TV because I like to have a relaxing show on in the background or listen to an audiobook, but I cannot have access to social media while I'm having my crafting time. Those two things do not go together, and I will wind up on my phone every time. I know this about myself. I'm not addicted to it, but it is addictive, and I know that if that's available to me, I'm going to get 2 rows in and I'm going to check Instagram real quick. Let's just cop to that right now and set ourselves up for success by removing that distraction. The thing is, distractions aren't just digital, they're physical too. Let me set the scene. You sit down with your project, you've put your phone away, you're ready to go. And then you don't have your pattern handy and you realize that you need to refresh on what the increase rate is. Or you actually needed a different cord length than you have right now. Or you needed a stitch marker that you don't have right now. Or you need something to drink. You get up from that crafting space and no doubt get distracted by something else. There's always, oh, I guess I should fold that laundry. Oh, let me put in my grocery order or do my meal plan. Oh, let me organize something in my stash. It is so much easier to make progress on your project and sit down and actually spend your crafting time crafting when you aren't hunting around for your tools and your materials that you need. So before you start, sit down and gather all of the materials that you could need for that crafting session. Make sure you have your pattern handy. Even if you think you don't need it, just have it around. If you don't use it, great. Stitch markers, tapestry needle, alternate needle sizes for ribbing or things like that, alternate hook sizes. Keep all of these things in a small pouch inside your project bag or wherever it is that you're storing your project. That way it goes with your project wherever you go. You don't have to think about it every time you work on it. Just keep those things in there. Sometimes, and I'm going to get to this in tip number 4, your crafting time isn't that lengthy. Sometimes we're squeezing in a few minutes here or there. And if you have to rustle around and find that crochet hook to fix your dropped stitch, hi, guilty, and it takes you 10 minutes to find one, there went your crafting window. And you spent that 10 minutes frustrated and racing around instead of doing the thing that you really wanted to do. Make your project bag your complete kit for what you need for that project. Again, coming back to monogamous knitting or crocheting, if you're only working on one project, then that tapestry needle that you need to weave your ends for that project, your one project, is going to stay in that bag because you're not switching bag to bag to bag to bag for all these different projects or leaving things scattered. You're making your kit, all your materials that your pattern says you need, your alternate colors, your bits and bobs, your favorite little scissors. It's staying in that one space with your one project. And then when that's done, you start it all again with another project. Tip number 4 is something that I'm going to call keys, wallet, phone, project. When you go anywhere, you bring your keys, your wallet, your phone, minimum. A lot of us have a big bag and we haul a bunch of other stuff that we may or may not need because we're worried, but that's a different story for another time. Keys, wallet, phone, project is how I accomplish as much knitting as I do. Whether you're leaving the house or not, this is just another way of saying that your project is Velcroed to your side. You should know where it is at all times because it's always with you. If you're at home, it's at home. If you're in the car, it's in the car. If you're at the doctor's office, it's at the doctor's office. Are you getting what I'm saying? If you're at the park with your kids, if you're in the carpool line, if you are going out to eat for dinner, if you're on your lunch break at work, it is always with you. Now, every environment's not going to be appropriate to knit or crochet in, but always having it with you means that you always have the option. All of these little 5-minute windows throughout the day are like crafting gold. Luckily, knitting and crochet is extremely portable. That's actually one of the reasons that I picked it up in the first place. I was considering learning to sew or learning to knit and crochet, and I chose knitting and crochet because it could go with me everywhere. Somewhere along the way, a lot of people forget that, and they think that if I don't have a dedicated 2-hour block or 1-hour block to make good progress, then it's not worth bringing with them. When I started bringing my projects with me everywhere, even if I only got half a row done while I was sitting in the carpool line or waiting for a friend to meet me for coffee, in those 5-10 minutes I waited, I made a little bit of progress. And when you do that throughout the day, every day, it really adds up to a lot more time than you think it would. Okay, and tip number 5 is probably the one that has helped me the most out of all of these tips and made the biggest difference for me in terms of how happy I am with my crafting time. And that's something that I'm going to call the energy audit. Check in with yourself before you start that project, before you ever cast on to start with. You can make your plan in Ravelry, you can dedicate yourself to monogamous knitting or crocheting, but before you actually work the first stitch and are firmly in it and have chosen to work on that project at that time, ask yourself if this particular project and everything that it requires, whether it's a super simple little scarf or a terribly intricate sweater, does this project align with my current stress levels and my current availability to focus on it? If life is chaotic right now, like it is for me, the kids are out of school for summer, I'm still trying to run my business, I have some travel coming up, I have so much going on, so I'm not going to start that gorgeous 12 color Fair Isle sweater. If I did, because I was just so inspired to make it, but the timing was bad, I would start it, maybe make a little bit of progress while I'm feeling super inspired, and then I would feel stressed and defeated because it feels like work when I'm already putting so much work into every other area of my life. When we're stressed, we go for comfort foods, comfort movies, and the patterns that we choose can go along with that. Something simple with repetitive stitches is going to mean that I gravitate toward working on it more often with more enthusiasm. I'm going to be more relaxed because that project is fitting my current mental availability. Now, this is going to be different for everyone. Some people feel creatively fueled by intricate lace work or color work or a big time-intensive project that they can see evolve over weeks or months. So even when you see something very inspiring on social media, on Ravelry, you can let yourself feel inspired. Let yourself plan that project and say, one day I'm going to make that. But if that day isn't today and it's not a good fit right now, that's okay. Everyone has different reasons for what they want to make and when and why. And just because you see something stunning that someone else made or designed doesn't mean you need to commit to it right now. Ask yourself if you are ready to commit to that thing. And when you do find time to start a new project after you've finished the one that you were working on before, choose something that's not just going to fuel you right now when you start it, but that you feel ready to commit to all the way to the finish line. Because crafting isn't about rushing. It's about making the space in our daily lives to do the things that make us feel creative, inspired, more confident, more excited about what we made. I hope that these 5 tips will help you find a few more rows in your day, because I really think that we can all make time for more crafting. We just have to do it very intentionally and make some dedicated choices to set ourselves up for crafting success. I would love to hear about what systems you've implemented to help yourself find more time for knitting and crocheting so that we can all learn from each other. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and hearing me out. I know that these tips aren't necessarily for everyone, but I think that finding ways to follow through for yourself and show up for yourself in a prepared and intentional way makes such a difference when we say, oh, I wish I had more time to knit or to crochet, but you can make that time with a few tweaks. For more crafty content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I share a lot of different things about yarn and vlogs about running a yarn business. And if that sounds like your style, I'd love to see you back here next time. Bye!